I guess we would say it's a surprise Facebook Live. I've been at the horse show, and I usually on the way home from a horse show, I do a Facebook Live when we're driving, but it was very dark when we were driving yesterday. So I thought I would do a Facebook Live today for two reasons. First reason is because today is the very last day to sign up for Groundwork Essentials. So if you haven't yet, check out the link above or below. It's amelianewcomb-dressage.com/groundwork essentials. And today is the very last day to sign up for that course. The second reason I'm on here live is because I wanted to give you a little bit of an update from the horse show. But first thing is groundwork essentials and ground manners. When you go to a horse show or when you go to a clinic or just in general, when you go to the barn and when you're riding, the majority of the time that we spend with our horses is on the ground. So, for example, at the horse show last weekend, we left the barn at 4 a.m., which meant that we were putting boots on, loading horses in the dark. You get to the horse show, there's a lot going on. There's tractors and water trucks and trailers. And it's so important when you go to the horse show that your horse's ground manners have to be extra good at home, because when you go to the horse show and there's this like added stimulus of things happening, it's really important that you feel confident and secure with handling your horses. So, for example, Harvey, he's my Grand Prix horse, and he's pretty hot and sensitive. And he didn't like when like the big forklifts were driving up behind him, and they drive kind of fast. So, just I'm always super aware of him. And when his head starts to go up and he gets really excited, I just ask him to lower his head, ask him to back up. But the key with your groundwork is that you really have to establish control and skills when you're in a safe situation. So when you're at home doing your daily routine with your horses, even though you're like, Amelia, my horse is fine, I don't need to work on my groundwork. Yes, you do, because something's going to happen someday where you need to get them in the trailer, you need to go, you want to go to a clinic, or they get spooked. And that's where it's really, really important that you have those skills installed before you have a problem. Groundwork is like an insurance policy. It's something that you have to pay your dues and install these skills so that when you have an issue, you need it. And that's the biggest problem that I see is people don't take the time to teach their horse any like boundaries or control skills on the ground. And then they have a big problem and they don't understand why. Inside of Groundwork Essentials, that is really what I'm breaking down to you, is step by step how to get control of your horse's body and mind on the ground. And one thing that I've done in Groundwork Essentials is that I've narrowed it down to 7 essential exercises. So for those of you that have already signed up for Groundwork Essentials, you've seen I've made it very, very simple, where I'm like, okay, if you can do these 7 exercises with your horse on the ground, then you can move on to all of the other stuff. And the course includes a lot more than these 7 essential exercises. But what I found is if you can get these done, then a lot of your other problems like trailer loading, getting into the wash rack, clipping your horse, as well as things under saddle, like that your horse is tense, your horse is distracted, you can't get your horse to bend. A lot of these can be solved by the 7 essential exercises. And so inside of Groundwork Essentials, there are 9, I think 9 modules. Let me see, I have the curriculum pulled up here. But basically, the first module is about horsemanship theory. So that's where I really go into like how you teach your horse, how horses think. And I think that that is super, super important to always come back to and always understand. Like for me at the horse show last weekend, when I was hand walking Harvey, and he gets a little bit nervous and worried about objects coming up behind him. It's important to understand that his vision is a lot different than ours, so he can see a lot more what's happening behind him. It's also important to remember that he's a flight animal. And so when he sees like a scary predator, like a tractor coming up behind him, his instinct is going to be to put his head up and run away. So what I need to do as the leader is say, "Yeah, I see it. I understand you're scared. Here's what we're doing." And by taking charge in that moment, then I'm able to get him to relax. I'm able to stay in control. And that's also really important for my confidence and for his confidence when I get on him. Because when I get on him and the same tractor comes up behind, I need to be able to do the same thing and say, "Hey, put your head down, bend. I've got it. You're all good. You don't have to worry." So that's the first module, is horsemanship theory. The second one is those 7 essential exercises. For those of you that have already signed up for Groundwork Essentials, there's an awesome PDF that you can print and download to your phone, so that way you can take it with you to the barn and watch the video at the barn and remember what you're supposed to be doing with your horse. The third section is troubleshooting the essential exercises. So in this section, I work with teaching students how to do the exercises, because if you've never done groundwork before, it can feel super awkward and you get dizzy, you don't know where to put your hands, you're tripping over your feet. And so this section can be really helpful for that, as well as if you have a horse that has never done groundwork before, or a horse that just wants to go backwards or won't bend or won't move forward. All of that is covered in the troubleshooting section. Then the next section is flag work. So flag work is a really good tool for if you have a horse that's either lazy and disrespectful and just doesn't pay attention to you on the ground, or if you have a horse that's overreactive and like sensitive and spooky. So I talk through how to do flag work, and then groundwork for riding. So for me with groundwork, I'm all about simple, practical, and effective. When I go to the horse show and I have multiple horses, I can't spend like 3 hours lunging my horses, besides the fact that that doesn't do any good. So my goal is to be able to, do 5 minutes of groundwork and get right on. Of course, sometimes that doesn't happen. If you have a young horse or a new horse, you might have to spend 30 minutes with them on the ground, but it's always with a purpose. So all of the groundwork exercises that I teach inside the course are either about keeping you safe, establishing communication with your horse, or getting your horse ready to ride, so that you can teach your horse the aids and the signals from the ground. And that way, when you get on, they're there and ready to ride. And I don't know about you, but I definitely would rather ride than do groundwork. So I've been ignoring the chat. Let me see who's here live. Let me know where you're watching from. Hi, George from Australia. Hi, Dory from Michigan. Hi, Barbara from Chicago. From Spain. Awesome. Yes, groundwork is very fun and beneficial. Awesome. Okay, so then inside the course, we go on to extra groundwork skills. So this is where I show you all the things like backing circles, getting your horse to put their head down, getting them to stretch down from the ground, jogging in hand, leading them through a gate. And then we have everything, like pretty much groundwork essentials includes everything that you need to do on the ground: cross ties, putting on the boots, spooky area, rehab. If any of you have ever had to rehab a horse and hand walk a horse, you definitely realize then how important ground manners are. So when I was at the horse show last weekend, my husband had a student there. Well, it's our student, but anyways, he was helping her. And because Harvey was in the CDI, he was stabled in a different barn. So I had to get him ready all by myself. I didn't have anyone there to help me. I didn't have any cross ties. And so I had to have him stand there, basically like ground tie, while I put the boots on, put the saddle on, put the bridle on. And it was a big test of his ground manners, because you're at the horse show. So there's other horses going by, there's trucks going by, there's trailers going by. And it just I was thinking of everyone in the groundwork course and thinking this is why groundwork is so important, because when you are in a tight situation, when you're at a show, when you don't have any help, it is so important that your horse behaves and that your horse puts their head down and that they stand still. Because if you can't get that to happen on the ground, you can't ride. Like if I didn't have good groundwork skills with Harvey, I would have been late to my ride and I would have missed my session. It would have been really bad. So that is why groundwork is super, super important. And like I said earlier, today is the last day to sign up for Groundwork Essentials. The course officially starts tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, we have an orientation call. I'm going to be doing a webinar on the science of horsemanship. And then we have office hours like every single week through the end of the year. So that's really one of the benefits to joining the groundwork course now, is that for one, it keeps you motivated to get out there and ride your horse this winter and do things with your horse over the winter. And for two, you have the opportunity to submit videos for us to take a look at. So anyways, let me see. I have notes here about everything I need to talk about. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the horse show. I was at Thermal last weekend. I had Harvey and Luigi. Luigi did fourth level. He did fourth one and fourth three. Harvey was in the CDI Grand Prix. And my main goal for this horse show was to ride the same in the show and to school my horses and to just enjoy them. And I think that sometimes with showing, we get like super hard on ourselves and we take the fun out of it. And so I just kept reminding myself like the whole weekend how lucky I am to have these two horses, to be at the horse show and to just really enjoy and smile and pet them and reward them. And I just can't tell you how important that is, because when you get all uptight and things aren't going well and you start getting into that negative spiral of like punishing and forcing, it just doesn't go well. And we all do it because we want to do well at the horse show, but it just doesn't work. So the other thing is sometimes when I go in the ring, I tend to override my horses. Like I tend to go in there and try to get more out of them and I like rush through the test. So I really just tried to like take my time, ride each movement one at a time. And that made a big difference. I was really happy with Luigi. He is 7 still, and he did 4-3. He did his first half pirouettes, half canter pirouettes in the ring. He did his first 3 tempies in the ring, and he was a really good boy. He's come a long way. I got Luigi when he was 5, and as a 6-year-old, he was a little bit exciting. He had some exciting moments at horse shows, so I was really proud that he just like handled it. I didn't have to lunge him. He went right to work, and that's a big thing. I really enjoy having horses from young horses and then training them all the way up to the Grand Prix, because you develop such a partnership with them and you really like understand them and are able to connect with them. And then Harvey did the Grand Prix. So he did the CDI, he did the Grand Prix on Friday, and then he did the special yesterday. And Harvey, when he goes to horse shows like this, he gets so hot and so excited. And it's the most incredible feeling with him, because you can, at this point, now that he's 11, you can channel that like power and that energy into the piaffe passage work and into the test. And so it was just like the most amazing feeling on him. And so much fun to be there and to be showing. And I've had Harvey since he was 5. So now at 11 to be doing the Grand Prix with him is really exciting. He is, I think, the most talented horse I've ever sat on. And his piaffe passage is amazing. I still lose it a little bit when I go in the ring. Like in the warm up, I just had some moments that were incredible. And then sometimes when I go into the ring, he I lose a little bit of the expression, of the throughness, of the engagement, but that's normal. It's something that we are working on. We're working on improving with him. And so overall, it was just a super fun horse show. We had a student come along with us. She did second level, and we were down in Thermal, which is like near Palm Springs. The weather was beautiful. It like rained here at home the entire time we were gone. But the weather at the horse show was just like perfect and beautiful. So we had a really good time. And yeah. Oh yeah. The other thing that I love about going to those big horse shows is that the really good riders are there. And so Stefan Peters was there. He was riding, I think the horse it was a young stallion. I think it was 6 or 7 in the third level. And Stefan is a rider that I really, really admire. I think that his way with the horses and his position and his seat is so amazing. So I was watching him ride this horse in the third level, and he went down the center line for the halt. And the horse was very unsettled in the halt. Like he went to salute, and the horse like put its head up and moved sideways. And so calmly, Stefan just moved the horse back, halted again, and saluted again, and made the horse stand there for a minute and then moved on. So I think all of us, if we halted and our horse moved, we would just like panic and just like trot out and it was just really cool how Stefan just like was schooling the young horse in the ring. And he knows as an international Grand Prix rider that it's all about just educating the horse and giving them the confidence in the ring. And so then this test has 3 halts. So the first halt, the horse was unsettled. The second halt, you halt across the short side and you have to rein back. So same thing, he went to halt and the horse was like nervous and kind of anticipated backing up. And he just so calm, got the horse to step forward again, asked the horse to stand still. And then when the horse stood still, backed up a few steps, went on with his test. And then the final halt, the horse stood there like perfect and he saluted. And so it was really cool to see how within this third level test, Stefan was just cool as a cucumber and just giving the horse confidence and schooling the horse and improving the horse throughout the test. And I think that that's a big lesson for all of us is my husband said, he's like, let's go horseback riding. It's just riding. And when you go to the horse show, just ride your horse the same as you ride them at home. And that's the best result that you'll get. And don't be afraid to school your horse or to make a little bit of a correction, because that's more the future is it's always more important to ride for the future than to ride for that test that day. And that's one thing that one of my coaches told me once is she's like, until you're going down the center line at the Olympics, it's all just about schooling your horse and making the next test better. And that's one thing that I'm really trying to focus on in my test riding as well, is that I'm working on getting my horses better on the aids in the show ring. So instead of just like covering everything up and making it happen, is, pushing my heels down, stretching up, sitting quiet, then giving a reaction, getting the aid to happen, just like you do at home, instead of freezing up and just like, oh God, I have to get through the test now. So horse shows are always super motivating. I think you always go to a horse show and realize how much more you have to learn and how much better you have to ride. So that's the fun of it. And yeah, just really, I love going to the horse shows and spending the time with the horses on the ground, in their stalls, night check, visiting them at night. I just love going to horse shows. So I hope you enjoyed this Sunday morning update. Don't forget to join Groundwork Essentials, because today is the last day to join. Tomorrow the course starts, and I'm looking forward to working with many of you who've already signed up. Hello, Stacy. Hello, Jill. Hi, Eden. Hi, Locke. Hey, Nora. Good to see all of you. I'm going to head to the barn shortly, check on the ponies because we got home late last night from the horse show. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.